Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and we got a great show planned for you tonight. We are going to be talking to a veteran comic book creator, as well as talking to Alex from Dynamite about some exciting upcoming news. But first, let's go ahead and bring him in. This dude has worked on so many freaking comics. Aquaman, Thunderbolts, Hulk, you name it. He's pretty much done it, including writing one of the most iconic characters of all time, Santa Claus, and he's got a new book from Dynamite coming up based on the Disney property Zootopia. Let's bring in Jeff Parker. What is up, my man?
What's up, guys? Good to see you, Robbie.
Yeah, good to have you here. I'm a big fan of your Aquaman run, right?
Oh, so I just thank you so much. I loved working on that book.
Dude, Aquaman's one of my favorite characters. I've been made fun of since I was a kid. When I was a kid, I had that superpowers figure, right, from the 80s. And I would bring them to school and everybody would make fun of me. They were like, Aquaman's stupid. You need Superman and Batman. I was like, I got them too, but I left them at home because Aquaman's cooler. And you actually followed up the Jeff Johns run on Aquaman, which could not have been an easy task. And you nailed it. I loved that run. What was that like doing Aquaman? And even in particular, after such a legendary run, I guess.
It was surprisingly easy, because Jeff had set up, he had pretty much put Aquaman back to the Aquaman I understood. You know, there's no hook hand or water hand or whatever. Or it's like, you know, it had all the classic elements, had Mara, you know, all that stuff. And I was like, great. And then I got to work with Paul Pelletier, who I had worked with at Marvel some on all the World War Hulk stuff. And Paul and I just click every time we work. That guy is a machine. And anytime he has an idea, like, could we ever do this? I always put it in, because like he just wanted to draw Swamp Thing. So we wrote Swamp Thing into an issue, stuff like that. And it was a weird time at DC on that part, because they were shuffling people around and the book didn't have a regular editor for a bit. So it was really me and Paul just doing what we wanted. And boy, that was just great.
Lots of freedom. Right?
I do think editors have a lot of value and stuff, but that was kind of fun because we really got to call a lot of shots and take things the way we wanted to for a year.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Well, you've worked with Dynamite before on many projects, right? Including Negaduck, but upcoming you got Zootopia, which I'm going to be honest with you, I've never seen Zootopia at all.
All right. Well, can you tell me good talking to you, Robbie? I'm taking off.
We've lost him. I definitely got to watch it before the book comes out.
Zootopia. It's such a good movie.
Sell me on it. My girlfriend was telling me that it's really, really fun.
It's one of the best Disney movies in decades. It really is. There's a reason fans are excited about the book and the sequel and having more Zootopia. And you'll be surprised once you see it that they didn't immediately do something else. Because it's just, I don't know, the world they fleshed out, which is all animals, mammals specifically. And the way that the thought they put into it alone would be worth the price of admission, but then it's really funny. And in fact, they found a way to kind of get the old joke of like, where people would always ask, like, what if Disney animals met real animals? And they make it happen. And it's exactly as wild as you would expect. It's like, you know, the main characters are Judy Hopps, a small rabbit police officer, and Nick Wilde, who is kind of a grifter con man type, who you will find out. I don't want to spoil too much of it for you because you really need to watch it, but you'll find out he really wanted to kind of be part of this sort of thing. Like, he wanted to be a scout as a kid, stuff like that. And he got ugly life lessons thrown at him. And she kind of helps him. They help each other find what they're good at. And it's really impressive. It's hard to describe. Idris Elba is Chief Bogo, who gives them their marching orders all the time. So J.K. Simmons plays the mayor lion. It's great.
Oh, okay. That sounds super cool. So you were already a fan before you got this gig to write this book. So was that exciting to you? Did you pursue it, or did they pursue you?
They asked Nate Cosby, the editor, asked if I'd have any interest. He said, "Do you like Zootopia?" And I went, "Yeah, it's one of my favorite Disney movies." And so that solved that. And and of course I had to come back with pitches and stuff, because with Disney they don't just say, "Oh, do what you want." That's not Disney. They want to make sure you're going to get their stuff right and not go in some weird direction that they don't approve of. But I didn't have that hard a time, really. They seemed to like the first story I came up with.
All right. Is this set up as a mini series or an ongoing? Anything like what's the format?
It is it's set up, and this is the way it's I always have to describe this. It's like every book is really a mini series that becomes an ongoing or not. Like they tell you, like, how about 6 issues or whatever for your first story arcs. And I'm like, that's great. That's exactly what I need. And if they then say, "Can you do more?" I'll of course say yes, because it's like, it's been a joy working on this so far. People still think it works like there's a book, it's going on, and then if it doesn't continue, it gets canceled. It's not. They're all, except for like old books that have been around forever, like Batman or whatever, they're all approved in arcs like that. That's just the way it works.
Yeah. Okay. Does this follow the movie, or is it like set just within the world of the movie? Like how integral into the movie is it?
I just realized I could tell you anything because you haven't seen the movie, and I could just make up, like, "Oh, this is." They go to a space station, Robbie. It's incredible. They decide to become astronauts in space,
Yeah.
but animal astronauts. It's really amazing. But I
I'm
won't
really
lie.
excited to hear that. That's awesome.
It This would have really worked if you would watch the movie. But I know it's killing your viewers too, because who have seen it. It picks up really close to the events of the end of the movie, so it could be like just 2 weeks later from where the movie leaves off.
Okay, so it's like a continuation in a way, because I may not have seen it, but I see people in the audience talking about how much they love this movie. So the audience is way smarter than me, and that's always the case usually.
Oh no, well, everybody's got some blind spot. I've got some things that everybody's always shocked that I haven't seen or something. I can't think of them right now, but I know I do. And there's so much things. There's so many things to watch, so you can miss something if someone doesn't force you to watch it.
Did you watch Zootopia when it first released?
Unfortunately, I missed it in the theaters because I was doing it. It came out right when I was doing a free comic book day signing. I was with artist Sandy Gerald, and we were in North Carolina, and our sons went to the theater next door while we were doing the signing, so they had something to do, and that's when Zootopia came out. And my son came out raving about it and how good it was. And I was like, well, I wish I had time to watch it now, but we had to go do other stuff. So as soon as we got home back to the West Coast, I bought it. And then I was like, well, he was a good judge of character, because it really, really paid off. And every time somebody was watching it, I would inevitably just stop and get caught. And then next thing you know, I'm watching the whole movie again.
Yeah, I do remember the trailer,
66.
right? I'm sorry, what's that?
It was kind of like when I did Batman 66. Like, I didn't even have to really watch the show again. I remembered it so well, but I did anyway, just to see if there was something I was missing. And I'm like, nope, I remembered all this.
Nice. I do remember the trailer, because I remember the trailer having the sloths and the DMV like talking very slowly.
Yeah, that was the whole trailer, wasn't it? It was the DMV thing. And it's kind of a weird thing to put for a trailer, because the whole joke of it is how slow it goes when they're trying to get a thing out of him, and then he tells them a joke. Yeah, and that's a weird one to have to like. I particularly don't have those sloths in the comic because I would have to chew up several pages to get across how slow they do their delivery. It's a very much a real time joke.
Yeah. You could do a whole like one shot though about the sloth and just have it be like one like sentence that goes across the whole like comic or something like that.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Or get a mob after us. Either way, I'm not sure how it would go over. It's kind of worth trying though.
So what's the process like when you work on a Disney property? Is there a lot of like input from Disney, or do you kind of have more of a free reign?
You don't have free reign with Disney. That's just not a thing. They're a massive corporation. But when they want something to happen fast, they do get back to you fast. So that's been helpful. They've been, they have to read everything and come back with notes. But actually on this, it's been not knock on wood. It's been surprisingly smooth. It's like I don't know anything about the sequel or what they're doing for it. I'm as in the dark as anybody. But they're not telling me anything about it or telling me, oh, we're going to do this. I haven't accidentally stumbled across something they were already going to do.
Okay. All right. You're breaking up just a little bit.
Oh,
but, I'm getting the
I think it's
gist
because
of
my
it.
phone was ringing. That weirdly enough, my editor on this book is just calling.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he said, you're saying too much or something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know if he
keep it in the
expected me to
bag.
pick up the phone in the middle of the interview and go, what? Should I not say that? Look, I just said Disney was actually being really cool. I don't know what else I can say.
All right. Who's the artist on this book?
It's Alessandro Rinaldi. Wait, I'm going to screw up Alessandro's last name. Let's see. I just want to get this right for once. Where the heck? Yeah, it is Rinaldi. Okay. I was doing it right. And he did for Dynamite. He recently did the Hercules related thing with the James Woods character,
Hades. Yeah.
Hades. And so if you saw that, you see how good he is. But boy, he slays on this. I mean, with stuff like this, you got to get the acting right. And you can tell he poured over the movie, and he's got the expressions down. You can kind of hear the actors' voices. Like when Nick Wilde, the Fox, talks, it sounds like Jason Bateman in my head. So Alessandro's got a huge job because the movie is made by hundreds of people. There's so many artists doing so many things in it, and now it's down to one guy trying to replicate that whole look and feel and do all that world building. And he's a real hero pulling this off.
So you've seen the pages. They're looking good. They're looking sharp. He's doing a good job.
Yeah. It looks so good. Dear Kelly, a colorist I've worked with before on a Vampirella miniseries for Dynamite, is coloring it. She's fantastic. And she clearly gets she's matching the whole look of the Zootopia is broken into these different territories. Like there's Tunderland, there's the rainforest, there's all this other stuff. Little Rodentia, where the little tiny animals live. And she really gets that color scheme down. It's nice. It really pops. Jeff Huckleberry's lettering, I worked with him. He's always great. He'll do subtle things that kind of suggest different characters' voices. It's a good team. I'm really lucky.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And the book does drop in January, so I got plenty of time to watch Zootopia beforehand. Do you think it's
It's a
necessary?
perfect time to watch over Christmas. You can watch, yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, is it a necessary thing for fans to refresh and then check out the book, or can they just jump into the book and enjoy it?
I think they can jump into the book, but why not watch it? I mean, it's you'll be surprised how much good stuff was in there you forgot about. So it's on Disney Plus. You might as well watch it. It's easier to watch it, and then you'll be really psyched up for the book. I think. Um, sometimes I'll just let it play while I'm working in the background.
Yeah. I got some time this evening and later this afternoon. Maybe I'll see if I can squeeze it in because I got access to Disney Plus right now.
Yeah.
Because I just watched the Agatha All Along show, which was really good. I was really surprised by that.
Everybody says
Um,
it's really good. I haven't watched it yet. See,
yeah,
there's something I haven't seen.
see, there you go. Like we all got these blind spots, right?
Yeah, and I like Catherine Hahn a
Agatha
lot.
gets
I should have
really
already watched
good.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, Agatha gets really good like halfway through. So like just when you start it, just kind of stick with it.
Okay.
But I did
Well,
really
that's good to
enjoy
know.
that one. Yeah, so I think I might have a chance to check out Zootopia because you're kind of selling me on it. Like when I've been talking about it with people this week, and everybody that I talk to loves it, and they're all like taken aback that I haven't seen it yet. They're like, "What are you talking about? You see so many movies. How come you've not seen this?" And many people have said the same sentiment that you did, that this is one of the best Disney movies in a very, very long time to them, like the greatest out of everything they've done. And Disney's got a classic storied history, of
Oh
some
yeah.
really major stuff.
No, I'm a pretty big Disney nerd, but they they do some stuff that it's borderline. You wonder, like, was like, were they having to really hang on to get the rating for this movie? Because like, there's some adult themes happening in the movie, way more than you're expecting, and they get away with jokes that you would think, oh, I don't think even DreamWorks would have done that, So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. The thing that it reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever read Black Sad. The
The
very
French
it's
comic, right?
Yeah, it's very noir, animal people comic. And obviously, Zootopia is not as risque as that is, but it does remind me of it a little bit.
Oh, that's interesting. That's one of the gaps in my comic book reading is Black Sad. Like we have it at my shop all the time. I keep it in stock at my shop. I run a shop and it sells tremendously well, but I've never gotten a
Oh,
chance to
good.
read it myself.
Oh, I think you'd really enjoy it. I mean, the art alone is by Juanjo Garnido is so good. What's your store?
It's the Deep Comics and Games in Alabama.
Oh, okay. All right. And what's the weather like there now?
What's that?
What is the temperature there now? What's the weather?
Today we are 72 degrees. It's a little overcast and a little drizzly.
Well, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's been like 80 degrees. Like
I was going to
high
say it's probably
temperature
been miserably hot for a while, hasn't
it? We get pretty hot down here, man. Not as bad as South Florida though. That's way worse down there.
Oh no, it's where it has to rain once a day because it gets so humid it just builds up and then dumps on you. But no, I've been to Alabama. It's a pretty hot state.
Yeah, it is, man, for sure. You worked okay. So I have heard it be said that you are a huge fan of Carl Barks, right?
Oh yeah, I love Carl Barks.
And everybody should be, right? 100%. So like, did your love of his work influence your work in Negaduck at all? I'm just curious.
There's no way it couldn't have. It influences my work and stuff that has no ducks. The fact that I tend to write so much like globe hopping adventure stuff, that's all from Carl Barks. Like he clearly would just read National Geographic and then go into his stories, and that sort of thing, and the kind of fun characters they like. I always liked the trappings, like the Junior Woodchucks guide that Huey, Dewey, and Louie would always consult that had everything, all human knowledge in it, or duck knowledge in it. Gizmo's little helper, that little robot that runs around and can do everything, and is always the secret to every one of his inventions because it's always inside cranking or whatever it's doing. There's so much good stuff. And even though, the Darkwing Duck is not supposed to be, they said at the time, like, oh, it's a different world. It's not the same thing. And then later they did cross over. And if it's not the same world, then what's what's his name, the pilot, doing there? Like
Yeah.
Cargo
Launchpad.
Yeah. Like it's like, how come he's in both cartoons? you know. But
It's the duck multiverse is what it is, right?
yeah, it is like the Spider-Verse, but with ducks. And yeah, and Launchpad McQuack's the one constant thread in all universes or something like that. But yeah, I I grew up reading those, and then when Fantagraphics started putting out the bound collections, I think we have all of them. I always get those as they come out. They're such good books,
Yeah,
and
and
they
they do a
come in
great
nice
job of
slip
putting those things
cases.
together. Yeah, they do a great job putting those together.
Yeah, I bet that sells in your store.
It does. We sell a lot of Barks, a lot of Don Rosa stuff as well.
Uh-huh.
And then it's funny because we get a lot of people that are like, I tell them like, oh, dude, I know the kind of comics you like. You really like good stuff. You should read this. And they're like, oh, that's like kid stuff. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like Carl Barks is a genius. He's a master. There's a reason why he's like up there with like Eisner and Kirby and Mobius and
Easily.
Atomo. You know what I'm saying? Like he's one of the big dogs to me.
Oh yeah, no, I am completely on board with you on that. He is easily the equal of all those guys, and that's saying something,
Yeah.
because you're talking about the Mount Rushmore of comics there.
Yeah. Very, very. So Carl Barks, that's some of the first stuff you got into comics was the duck stuff back in the day.
Yeah, and also when I was a kid, they used to do Dennis the Menace comics, and I was really into that. Um, I know if you just read Dennis from like later newspaper strips, you'd think, well, this is lame. But like back in the day, there was a cartoonist named Al Wiseman who used to do work on the comics, and he was such a good artist. He was a big influence on the Hernandez brothers, of Love and Rockets. And as a kid, I just really reacted to the art, and the stories were funny. And not unlike the Bark stuff, Dennis traveled all over the place. They'd always do a special like Dennis the Menace in Mexico or something like that, where Dennis goes to Switzerland for some reason.
Yeah. I remember I used to, when I was a kid growing up in the 80s, I would read Dennis the Menace and the comic strips on Sunday. And then I remember when the movie came out with Walter Matthau, I was like I was super into that movie when I was a
Yeah.
kid. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody really collects the old Dennis comics. I can't think of anybody. Do you know?
I have not seen. No, there were Fawcett books, and I don't think anybody's gone out of their way to put them. I think the syndicate newspaper syndicate would have to also be part of it, and I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything like that. I could be completely wrong.
I think it's time for a Dennis the Menace revival. Personally, that's
Yeah,
what I think.
at least just get the good stuff. Like the way they went back and put together all the cool old little Lulu comics and stuff like that. Like there's so many good comics that like kids and adults would still enjoy if you can just make them available for them.
Yeah. It's funny because I see figure drawing out there be like, that's like kid stuff as they buy comics. But that is a thing that a lot of people nowadays, they're like, comics aren't for kids anymore, because that was like, I think it was a stigma that people were trying to get away from, that comics are just for kids. That doesn't mean that comics aren't for kids. And I think that there's a lack of content out there from many of the major publishers that is geared towards a younger audience. So some of the stuff that Dynamite's been doing lately, especially with the Disney properties, I think that's a really important thing. How do you feel about that?
Exactly the same. Dynamite is picking up exactly where it should, and making like that's how do you expect to have, an audience if you don't start them and give them something to read once they're learning to read? I mean, this is perfect. You know, our stuff is all ages. You should be, a little kid should pick it up. They won't get everything, but they don't have to. And an adult can pick it up and read it and will get everything, and some jokes that they'll think, haha, the kids were never going to get that. But that's the whole thing with doing all ages, like Pixar type stuff. You know, you find a way to have something for everybody in there, and they'll laugh at stuff they don't even understand, because they get that it's funny. They don't know quite why, but it still sort of works. But yeah, thank goodness Dynamite is getting so heavily into it, because it needs to happen. I think most comic shops need a dedicated kid section where kids can flop down and read, and their parents or older aunts and uncles can, go look for older material to read. Like, that's the way it is in Europe. Yeah, everybody's got something for them in there.
Yeah.
It's like, and the way things are slowing down Hollywood's end, like, comics could easily be taking up the slack now.
Yeah. At my shop, we have a like a kids and all ages section, like, for sure.
Oh,
And like,
good.
people tell me all the time, they're like, kids don't buy comics. And I'm like, I beg to differ. One of our best selling comics is Sonic the Hedgehog, right? And like,
Yeah,
kids flock to that book,
they
right?
love that.
They do. And so a lot of kids still buy a lot of books. There's those little golden books. We sell the crap out of those because they got like a He-Man one and Star Wars and all the Disney stuff. And kids love to read. And that's how I started learning to read. I was 5 years old
Me
reading
too.
my stepdad's comics, and I just was a voracious reader from that point forward. It's very important. And kids learn from their parents, and maybe more parents should read comics in front of their kids, and maybe their kids will want to read more comics themselves and just want to read instead of just
Yeah.
being on their phone all the time or something like that. Not to sound like an old man, but reading
No,
is kind
it's
of a
like,
lost art, right?
instead of just zoning out in front of the thing, reading's just better for your head. I remember my dad used to, he'd let me bring home any comics or whatever. He would just read like Sergeant Rock or something like that. He's like, oh, this is good. I'll read these war stories.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense. It's a very dad comic book when you're a kid. On Halloween the other night, I set up this alien who tries to get kids to go through a portal and all this stuff. And I have the table set up and I have the candy on it. And I have all the comps of books I've worked on that are very kid friendly. So I had tons of Negaduck out there. And, I let everybody know, like, take a piece of candy and take a comic book. And they were excited about the comic books. Like, I didn't have any left. They took all my books.
That's
And,
awesome.
which is great, because then they can read it. They can go to the comic shop near where I live and buy more if they get into it. It's like, everybody for Halloween, if you can, hit up your local store and buy up some kid-friendly comics and give them out. It goes over great. The kids do not forget it, and they look forward to it.
Yeah, I agree. We do a show on Mondays over at the EXP, me and Dynamite, where we sell books. And one of the things they do is like these grab bags and stuff. And I'm always telling people, buy these grab bags, pass them out for Halloween, give them away as Christmas presents, stocking stuffers,
They're
like, put it
perfect
out there so people still
stocking
know that.
stuffers are great.
Yeah, right. And I tell people this too. This is an idea I heard somewhere. I can't remember where, but years ago. And they're like, when you go to like a dentist's office or a doctor's office and you're in there waiting and they got like 6-month-old magazines, bring a stack of comics and leave them there. Right.
That is a brilliant idea, and I need to do that. Because before you'd go in there and it's like, well, you had highlights. Maybe it would have a comic in it. If you want to read about Goofus and Gallant and whatever they did or something, that, like, if there was a comic, that definitely would have been the thing I was aimed at. It's like,
Yeah.
don't leave some stupid little puzzle block thing or whatever. Just leave some comics out.
Yeah, absolutely. Engage the mind through the art of reading. I think that's a fantastic thing to do.
Everybody who starts out reading comics just becomes a big reader in general. All the comics readers I know also read tons of prose, all kinds of fiction. So it's a weird prejudice that's finally falling away in America, and good, like, it's because it's good for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Reading is good for you. So before we let you go, I do want to talk about this. You did a book last year that when I first heard about it, I was like, I don't know how this one's going to go. Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night, right? But
Yeah.
it was really good. But aside from that, it sold beyond my expectations at my
Mine
shop. And I
too.
got a lot of people that are excited about this sequel. Can
Oh,
you tell us a
good.
little bit about that?
Yeah. No, I was just like you. I was completely blown away with how people embraced that book. And I think they just liked the fact that we took instead of doing the whole, oh, ho, here's another sort of meaningless Christmas story that may or may not have happened. We put it directly in continuity. Uh, we made ass kicking Santa, somebody who Batman knows, and and he joins up to kind of help track down all these monsters that are getting loose, and you find out Krampus is behind it. So it's a Krampus story too, and it's kind of in the tradition of, how in the song, we'll tell scary ghost stories and blah blah tales of the glories of Christmases. That Christmas ghost stories used to be a tradition. It used to be a really big thing,
A
and
Christmas Carol is a ghost story, right?
it is a ghost story, but it's got 3 ghosts in it at least. So it's like, I'm not even counting uh, uh, Jacob
Marley?
Marley in there,
Yeah.
and dragging his chains that he forged in life. But yeah, it went over so well. I think people liked the fact that every week they were getting a new installment. So when DC approached this time, they said, "Do you want one more issue?" And I was like, "Of course I want one more issue. Like now I can do a big fat story and really get into it." And they brought in Lucas Kettner, an artist I've worked with before a little bit, but man, Lucas just rose to the challenge of this because there's a lot of moving pieces in this story, and it it's called Silent Night Returns, and it actually does use the character called Silent Night, who used to be in Brave and Bold back in the 50s, and it I don't want to spoil any of it, but he's essentially your villain in this story, and he's kind of hard to beat because of the nature of what he is. And so the Justice League get messed up right away, and Robin manages to get away to go seek out help, and he runs to what I keep referring to her as his Aunt Zatanna, because I like thinking Robin thinks of her as his aunt, my hot aunt. And and
Nice touch.
yeah, and well, he knows that she's the one who understands magic and magic threats and will help him. And he inadvertently summons Claus again. So this time it's not that they have to help Claus; he comes to help them, and he plays an even bigger part in the story, going along with them. Like before, he was kind of almost popping in and out of scenes, and he's kind of there to you get to see all the heroes suddenly see their version of a superhero, like, oh, I this is somebody I've looked up to since I was a kid, and
Yeah.
he's real,
Well,
especially Superman.
one of my favorite things about that first volume was Superman's reaction to meeting Santa Claus. It was so cute. It was so wholesome, man.
Yes, it made perfect sense for Superman to just be completely starstruck over Santa Claus, and we kind of pick up with that again. It's like he's so delighted that he gets to see Santa Claus again. It's like you can't help but feel good for Superman in this story. And we bring in a lot of the magical characters. I bring in Etrigan the demon, Jason Blood, um, Metamorphose in it, Mary Marvel, Robot Man, Cliff Steele. It's pretty much me like, who do I like? And they just start coming in the story.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Well,
So
very much
yeah,
looking forward to that,
and
man.
as you know, so it's going to be next week. The trade of last year's series will be out.
Yep.
And so everybody can read that, and then it will start in on the first issue and run for the next 5 weeks.
Yeah. Perfect for the holiday season. Perfectly timed. Great
Yeah,
schedule.
it'll get
there.
everybody ramped up for you. It'll get you in the Christmas mood really fast.
Yeah, really will. I'm super looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to checking out Zootopia after I watch the movie. Maybe this afternoon. I'll send you a message and let you know what I thought about it.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for
It's not
taking
like
time.
it's not like I get a kickback for you watching the movie. I just think you're going to like it.
Good deal. Well, thank you for joining us, Jeff. This has been super fun. And
This is a
we
great
look forward to having
podcast,
you on
and,
again.
like, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. All right, we're going to take a quick intermission, and then we're going to bring in Alex, and we got some exciting Thundercats stuff to talk about.
Thundercats is looking great.
Yeah,
I worked with Drew Moss before he started doing that. That guy's amazing.
Yeah, we had Drew in. Drew's been in the chat today, actually.
Was he?
Yeah, Drew's been in the chat. Super cool. Very excited.
Drew is the best, and Declan's the best. So they picked a perfect team for that book.
Yeah, they really did. All right, Jeff, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time, and we'll be right back here, PCP Army.
Thanks.
What's up, Alex? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Robbie?
Just chilling, bro. Just had a great conversation with Jeff. We probably could have kept going for another hour talking about comics and stuff.
Yeah, no, he was great. I was watching. That was a lot of fun. I definitely love the Halloween comic book giveaway talk because I do that every year. So definitely, the more comic books given away on Halloween, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you dress up for Halloween this year, Alex?
So I had I worked till 8. So yes. Did I actually experience Halloween? No, I was still dressed up anyway. But
which Star Wars character were you?
It's a great accurate question. I was Broom Boy. No, I'm kidding. No, I had a Jedi outfit on, but it was not my good Jedi outfit. It was my lower end, easy to put on Jedi outfit, just to make it easy. And then, of course, I went to Spirit Halloween the day after to get next year's Halloween costume.
Yeah, on discount, right?
Discount.
Dude, I immediately went to my grocery store and bought as many Reese pumpkins as I could for like 50% off.
Well, I got to buy a dodgeball for next year because next year's going to be Average Joe's.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I wanted to get a Globo Gym because the Purple Cobras, but couldn't find one.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
I love Robbie, there's some amazing news that I actually get the break. We're breaking some news here.
We're breaking news here again on PCP, dude. Let's do it.
Right at everybody watching. So, throw the link up there. We'll show everybody what we're talking about. We've got Thundercats, the Marvel Years Omnibus, has been officially announced. Now, what is going to be in the package? Well, it's super exciting because I get to announce what the omnibuses are actually.
Very cool.
So everyone right now, if you click the link right there, take you to our backer kit where this was just announced. The details are still coming out as we gear toward the official launch. But Robbie, I can tell you this. Thundercats, all 24 issues, 2 omnibuses are coming. That's right. The original Marvel Star comics are coming, being reprinted, collected for the first time ever.
I was about to be like, this has never been reprinted. since the initial release, right?
It has never been reprinted. So let's take a look at some of the covers, because there's some amazing art with some incredible creators. And I actually have a little creator list of who's going to be who did Thundercats Star Marvel. So David Michelini, Jim Mooney, Brett Breeding, Kim DeMulder, Jerry Conway, Jose Delbo, Barris, Al Gordon, Peter Lawrence, Tom DeFalco, Maurice Severin, Steve Perry, Ernie Colon, Al Williamson, Dave Simmons, Jim Mooney, Vincent Coletta, Leonard Starr, Dwight John Zimmerman, Julian Gardner, Laura Hitchcock, Michael Esposito, Daryl Edelman, William Overgard, James Rose, Dwayne Turner, Frank Springer, and Rodney Ramos. So those are all the creators on all 24 issues. Everybody gets a mention because everyone deserves a mention. These comics came out in '85. You know, this is going to be the 40th anniversary of these comics coming out. I'm excited to announce that Volume 1 will be the first 12 issues. First 12 issues. So go through these covers. Take a look at some amazing art on these covers. Some great stories. They're going to be.
I used to love reading this when I was a kid, man. Like Thundercats, that show and those toys, they really got me going, man. And when y'all started doing the Thundercats books, I was hoping we would get something like this. I mean, I've been praying, begging.
Volume 2, Robbie, are these 13 to 24. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of great stories. I mean, as someone that collects comics and loves properties, comic books is the perfect medium to continue TV shows, movies, because save budget-wise. You can tell infinite stories in comic books. You don't have to worry about a CGI budget. You know, it's whatever the artist can draw, can imagine, can do. Obviously, there's limitations. There's no sound with the comic book, but that means you get to create these things in your head. But the best part is that these are most comic book adaptations are almost drawn the exact same animation style. So you've got their voices in your head. You know, I cannot look at that and hear Larry Kenny's voice going, Lion-O, you know, like these characters are their voices, and seeing them drawn in this format, in this style, is just continuing the universe. So if you're a fan of the original 1980s Thundercats, you've never seen an episode of Thundercats, if you've only read Dynamite's Thundercats, well, go back to the stories that helped shape the universe to start. And this will be Thundercats Classic Years, the graphic novels. Again, there will be multiple formats, but it's going to be 2 omnibuses. Issues 1 to 12 and 13 to 24. Again, reprinted for the first time completed ever. It's super exciting. Of course, there will be extra goodies and other fun things as well. I believe we are going to do a reprint of the first single issue. I believe we're going to do a facsimile of this as well. So that can be cool. That'll be cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That is in the pipelines. That should be coming. I hope to have confirmation very soon, but that's something very cool. But right now, click the backer kit link, because we just announced this. We are still getting everything ready to go for, I believe, either next week's launch or very, very shortly. It's going to be very shortly. We're just dotting our T's and crossing our I's for this, just to make sure everything's ready. But it's super exciting because, again, I used to have a store where I sold toys, and I sold Thundercats, and I learned more about Thundercats here selling this book. And even though I regret not, there's so many toy properties, how do I pick and choose Transformers, But having these stories set in that original universe is great. I mean, as a Star Wars fan, even though they're not canon anymore, and it's still very fun to see the very early Star Wars stories. The original stuff in that universe. And even though it's not canon, where were the writers' minds at that point? Where was their headspace? What universe were they trying to bring then? It's so much fun. So Thundercats fans, non-Thundercats fans, click the backer kit and get ready for Thundercats, the classic years.
And a lot of us, we look at it and we just think of it as Thundercats. This is the Thundercats books from the 80s, Star Comics. A lot of us fondly remember that, especially people my age. I remember Thundercats. Heathcliff was one of the Star Comics that I absolutely loved. But yeah, didn't even know that like Tom DeFalco, David Michelini, like that these people worked. I mean, these are legendary creators who are responsible for people like Venom and Night Thrasher, great runs on Thor and Spider-Man, who had their say in the Thundercats lore. So you also get a lot of awesome work from legendary creators as a part of this too.
Yeah, I did not know that Marie Severin did some stuff and Rodney Ramos. So it's pretty cool because the Star was an imprint of Marvel, and it was more for their cartoonish books. Ewoks, it was Star, all this stuff. It was cartoon based. Well, you still had to have a full creative team, and if you didn't want to put somebody on a bigger book, you could, or if there was a spot they needed to fill in, I'm sure Marie just filled in because she was super busy at the time. But it's just really cool to see the different artists that brought this stuff to life in that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very pumped and excited for this. As soon as I found out about it, I was like, I got to be involved in some form or fashion. So I'm glad we're doing this show, and I want to continue to be involved as this process goes, man, because I'm 110% behind this project, dude. Let's go, man. I'm excited, dude.
What's that? I actually, a little segue, but I have a visitor down here. That's crazy. Well, I didn't know you were visiting me. Oh, hey there, Sophie. What's going on? And wait, look, it's Rusty. It's Rusty as well. Yes, stray dogs. We've got stray dogs.
And those are the actual like prototypes right there, right?
Look, it's Victor. Victor. That's right, guys. From the pages of Stray Dogs. We are super excited to be doing a backer kit right now with the amazing Trish Forstner and Tony Fleeks to bring their great horror dog-tailed Stray Dogs out of the pages. I'm coming up for this, Robbie. It's coming out of the pages. We've got Sophie. Look at these dogs. So 3 beautiful dogs. So the backer kit link is right there in the chat, right there. The actual campaign are for these individual plush dolls. There is a one for all 3, of course, but there's more. For the first time in years, there's a new Dynamic Forces exclusive variant. Going to be on Feral number 7. That's right. First DF variant in a while. I am super excited. But these dolls are so cute. They're so much fun. And there are stretch goals too. So check out the backer kit. Like they're so adorable. They're so cute. And these
they look really well. They look like they're really well made, man.
Oh, I mean, these are absolutely very well made, and you'll notice very nice details in all these. Robbie, these are really.
Sophie's got the right facial expression and everything, right? That worry that she's going through.
Robbie, these are really, really well made. So, you guys want to get one, and they feel amazing. And guess what? Even if you're not a Stray Dogs fan, what if you're just a dog fan? You just want a little plush doll, little plush dog. It's a lot easier to take care of than a real dog. I will say that. But so, out of the pages of Stray Dogs and Stray Dogs Dog Days, again, it is the Feral plush dolls, Tony Fleeks, Trish Forstner. There are lithographs. There are metal covers. There's dog tag stretch goals. It's going to be super exciting. But we're just super excited because, it's really cool. We are Dynamite, but we also do other things in publishing, and we being able to bring, like an image property, like it's not a crossover, but it's just supporting other people's work. And it's great. And being able to, we're the ones that get to bring these amazing plush dolls to the market is great. So if you like a Dalmatian, if you like whatever Rusty is or Sophie, I'm not really a dog breed. I don't know their exact breeds. What does it say? Does it say, hold on?
I don't know, me neither. I know what a Dalmatian looks like, but
I know that. I definitely know that one, But again, it's Rusty, Victor, and Sophie. And I believe if we hit a certain goal, there might be a fourth one as well. But
oh, cool. And
check out
also,
backer
the
kit.
exclusive cover for Feral #7 that DF is doing is a 7 homage, which is
7.
really freaking cool.
Wait, is it 7 or is it 7? N.
I doubt it. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be said. Let's call up David Fincher right now and see.
Because if anyone doesn't know, in the word 7, the movie poster, the V is the letter 7. So it's 7 N. Anyway. But yeah, that is pretty cool on issue number 7. But Robbie, it's the first DF variant cover in like 3 years. I know it's the first one since I've been here, so it's just cool that we're doing DF variant covers. So yes, Feral, Stray Dogs, that whole universe is great. And what's actually pretty cool is Stray Dogs was 6 issues, and Dog Days, which was a little, which was a one shot. Feral's on issue 7, and I think it's ongoing for now.
It's an ongoing,
So,
yeah.
Could these characters show up? I don't know. It's theoretically possible. Don't know what Trish and Tony will do, but all I can say is these dogs are adorable, so don't miss out. The backer kit link right there for Stray Dogs, and of course for Thundercats. Oh.
Yeah, I'm very excited for both of these projects. Those plushes look adorable, and Thundercats having that original Star Comics stuff being put in print for the first time since its release. That's exciting news. Alex, thank you for being here and sharing it with us, my man.
Absolutely. And Robbie, if you have time this weekend, there's a movie you should watch. It's called Zootopia.
Yeah, I've heard.
There you go. But yeah, Zootopia is going to be, the book's going to be awesome. We are super excited for Jeff Parker, and we're happy that he was able to be on today. So watch Zootopia.
Yeah. All right. I think I might go watch it right now because I'm like, now I'm geared up. I think I might go watch Zootopia, then watch a few episodes of the old school Thundercats, and then maybe I might read Stray Dogs. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So I've been influenced.
Mission accomplished.
Absolutely. Well, y'all, thank you so much. Next week on Friday, we're going to be joined by Joe Casey. He's got some exciting things to talk about, including his work on Johnny Quest. So that's going to be exciting. So y'all, we will catch you next time. And don't forget, PCP Movie Night does return this Monday, where we start our journey back to the future. We're going to be talking about Back to the Future on Monday night, and then the following Monday night, part 2, and then the following Monday after that, part 3. So giving them the space, and then we move into Van Damme December. So very, very excited. Thank you again, Alex. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate you, PCP Army. We're dipping out. Station